Some of the most meaningful creative projects start as something completely personal, not designed for an audience or for an algorithm. Just someone paying attention to something that matters to them. Today we are talking to Laura Reichert, a photographer based between Munich and Vienna, whose work is all about documenting people, stories, and authentic moments, and whose project Studio Reichert is exactly that kind of story. But before we get into all of that, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Hi, thanks so much for having me. It's really nice getting to talk to you. Yeah, like you said, my name's Laura. I'm a photographer. I've been living in Vienna for about 4 years now, almost. Time flies, so it goes so fast. um, but yeah, I'm a photographer. I studied transcultural communications, and I kind of work in between the field of documenting people, atmospheres, architecture, and a little bit of commercial. But yeah, I've tried to get a more documentary feel on photography to capture people in authentic atmospheres and not have them be super polished. So that's why I shoot a lot of analog film as well. And yeah, like you said, Studio Reichert is kind of intergenerational collaboration with my grandfather. Yeah, that's come up in the last few years because he passed away in 2020. And because there was an exhibition that I didn't curate, but it was the first exhibition after he died. My family had to, start thinking about, okay, what are we going to do with all of his work? What are we going to do with the workshop? All of his prints that are still, just sitting there. And yeah, we started to take it more seriously and get into archiving. And I thought it'd be a fun idea to incorporate his work into my creative processes as well. So I started making, I think you could call it merch. So I printed his work on T-shirts and tote bags and just tried to incorporate it into everyday life a bit more. And so that's what I'm doing at the moment, working as a photographer and also capturing whatever the essence of his work is still doing for people in a new way.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, that's really amazing. Just for everyone, because I
Thanks.
wasn't mentioned in the intro what he did. Can you just tell everyone what
Oh
your
yeah, sorry.
grandfather did and like what
Absolutely.
was known for and is known for?
For sure. He was an artist first and foremost, mostly in the fields of printing, so typography is probably what you would call it. Um, I like to say that it was kind of graphic design, but in real life, because he did it on paper with like actual, like he cut out the letters and he made all of the stamps himself so he could, you know, stamp them in different colors. He mixed his colors. They're really vibrant prints, I would say. But yeah, he was kind of graphic designer slash printer. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, yeah, it makes sense though, because typography back in the day was something actually very like hands-on because you had
Mhm.
to, create the printing letters and then to be able to print them somewhere. So I would call him a typographer as well in that case. But very interesting, and really cool that you're able to keep his legacy alive with this project.
Well, we're trying because I feel like it's a bit hard because if we don't do it, nobody else is gonna, you know? Who else could it do like could do it? Um, and I think I've like it goes back and forth being excited and being kind of scared to tackle it because it's like his life's work and I'm just me. Like I'm just one person and I didn't get to, work with him while he was still actively working. I was a bit too young to fully understand how much weight his work actually carried. And now that he's, you know, dead, um, me and my dad are just gonna, try and make sense of it from what there's left of it. And it's really fascinating diving into someone else's creative process without being able to talk to them about it. So that's quite a challenge. But it's super fun, and I feel really honored that I get to do it.
Yeah, I'm I'm like really, I don't know, I can only imagine how much not pressure, but more like how much emotion comes up when you like enter, or when you first entered that workshop or atelier
Mhm,
with like you're saying you documented it, right? Like for the
mhm.
exhibition.
I
Um
did, yeah, yeah.
yeah, what it felt like to like go in there and start documenting the process and documenting his workshop, and as he left it. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm assuming it was untouched.
Exactly, yeah. It was really important to us to, go in and capture it on, in photographs and video, um, the exact way that he left it before people went in and started to dig out prints for the curation of the exhibition. Um, so we did that, I think, on like an afternoon summer a couple of years ago. We just went in, me and my dad, and just like looked at everything. Um, and it was quite special because I remember it from being a child when I was like visiting my grandparents and I walked in and it was just like his, I wouldn't say sacred space because it's super personal to him, obviously. It's like his office, but nobody ever knows where everything is except for him. And I can I don't know because I don't have a studio of my own. I usually just book into places where I need to be, depending on the job. But I can imagine other people have this feeling when walking into their studio or having a separate workspace that is just purely theirs. It's a certain personal energy to it, I guess. And walking into someone else's personal office, um, felt quite an invasion of privacy for some reason, so I wanted to document it before people actually changed something about it.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. Were you documenting it on film as well when you were taking the shots?
You mean analog film or
Yes.
video? Yeah. Um, I think I did like, not fully. I think most of this was digital because I was super, like, was I hyper aware of capturing everything, and I just felt like that was easier to do digitally.
Yeah.
But, yeah, because I wanted to get it right, I wanted to be able to look at it on camera while I took the photos to make sure that I got the shot that we wanted and everything was in focus and everything. Um, but I did do a couple of analog shots just because that's what I really like doing, and it feels really special to capture things on film.
Exactly, that's what you said in the beginning, that it feels like more
Mm.
authentic, in a way, and also like more. Like in the moment, like when I think of taking film photos, I always like feel way more intentional about the shot. Whereas when I just take them digitally, just like take 100
Mhm.
photos and hope for the best. And with like film photography, it's so intentional. It's like
Yeah.
so in the moment, and if you mess it up, it's gone. Like that moment is gone. I feel like it's a very
True.
sacred moment and process. When you were documenting the workshop, was it like more just like as a for a personal archive, so you and your family have it like documented what it looked like before someone went into it and looked around, or did you already have like some greater purpose for them in mind?
Think in the moment of taking the photos, we just wanted to do it for ourselves, just so we don't forget, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. If this building's going to stand for much longer, I don't know what's going to happen. Um, but now that the exhibition was such a success and the collaboration project that I want to say invented um, is also doing quite well. Quite glad that I put so much effort into it, even though we didn't know this was gonna be useful now. Um, so yeah, we didn't think of it as like a project at the time, but it's kind of becoming more like a project for us now, yeah.
How did the because you mentioned that it was part of an exhibition.
Mhm.
How did that exhibition come about? Like, did then just someone come and started archiving his projects, or how does that work?
Because he worked for such a long time and with lots of different people, he obviously had a lot of friends in, I want to say, the industry. And he did lots of exhibitions while he was still alive, because that's, at the time, the internet wasn't really a thing and social media wasn't really a thing, and you couldn't promote things like that. So the only way to, make your work known and get people to buy your art was to host an exhibition and hope someone likes it. And maybe, gives you a commercial, project to work on. But because he did so many exhibitions, he obviously was quite well introduced into some sort of, gallery network. And in Rosenheim, a smallish town in the south of Munich, he hosted quite a few exhibitions there because he lived around the area. And the official city gallery of Rosenheim was kind enough to, host this exhibition. So my family didn't curate it, but some of his friends and colleagues from his active work times, I want to say, they really wanted to, have one last exhibition so they could also maybe have this as one last project with him, even though he was gone. And I feel like it's some sort of closure also if you get to do something for someone you've really liked or admired. And yeah, I think that's what made it happen. His network, I want to say, was the reason that this came to life. And when I told the curators that I had taken some of the photos from his workspace, they were like, hey, do you want to put them in the exhibit, just to have a little corner of what the creation space of all of this art looks like so people can see. So yeah, we had a little dedicated corner of all the photos I took, which was really nice. And I don't know, in the midst of all this, someone else preparing an exhibition and I get to sort of be featured in it, I came upon the idea of, creating something for the museum shop. And because I had printed one of my favorite artworks of his on a t-shirt a couple of years before, just for me, because I wanted to wear it because I thought it looked cool. And people kept telling me, hey, this is cool, where'd you get this? I kind of got the idea, okay, maybe we could, make it some sort of merch. I don't know. And it really took off for some reason. I mean, I get it because his work is great. I'm biased, but yeah, I'm really happy that it worked out this way.
How did that actually feel to be exhibiting alongside your late grandfather? I mean, you only, like you mentioned, when you saw his work or when you experienced him working, you were young and you didn't really understand what was going on or what he was doing or his impact. And now that you understand and got to exhibit alongside him, how did that feel like for you?
You're asking tough questions.
I'm going deep today.
No, it was, I think in the moment, I didn't realize that it was going to be this big because, like I said, I didn't know how much weight his work carried when he was still working. So when I showed up to the exhibition opening and so many people were there, I was absolutely blown away. And then I realized, oh, okay, this is kind of a big deal. I have my little corner and the rest of the rooms are my grandpa. And it felt quite surreal, to be quite frank, because I know nothing about printing the way that he does. And I'd like to say that I have a visual, preference like everyone else has. Beauty is subjective, obviously. And everyone can tell if they like something or they don't. But being able to curate an exhibition and someone else says, hey, I want you to be part of it, that felt quite surreal to me because in comparison, the prints that he did and the photos that I took are in no comparison. Like, I just captured what made his work possible. So I don't think I would call it me being featured in his exhibition. It's just me adding to the atmosphere of the exhibition so people can understand his work a bit better.
For me, that feels like being part of the exhibition. I feel like documenting something authentically is not
Mm,
an easy task. And like evoking
mm,
emotion doing that, like
so,
assuming that people looked at his work and then looked at the process and at his workshop. I haven't seen them, but I could
uh-huh.
imagine that it had a big impact on how they felt there and seeing like some insights into his process. And it takes great skill to document that authentically.
Oh, that's nice of you to say. Thank you.
I mean, I'm like I'm a hobby photographer. I'm not a professional in any way. So I just know how difficult it is to capture a moment
Uh-huh.
in its authentic state. I don't know what to call it, but like to really like capture something authentically and not just like, oh yeah, just a spur of a moment and I just want to show it to
Yeah.
someone and just really be intentional about what you take photos of. And because you also
Uh-huh.
knew that this moment is fleeting, like this workshop as it
Uh-huh.
is now won't be like this anymore. So I feel like there's a lot of
Mhm.
pressure on it to capture it authentically. And
Mm.
I want to dive a bit more into your work and how you work, because
Mhm.
we mentioned that you do like um, that you document rather than photograph. At least that's how the words that you use, and also on your
Mhm.
website.
Yeah.
And you touched upon it a little bit in your introduction. And I wanted to ask, first of all, what got you into photography, and second of all, what what made you choose like the word documenting like rather than photographing? I mean, is photographing even an English word?
Yeah, photographing.
Photographing,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you. Well, my English today is oh,
Just
okay.
the emphasis was
Just the
off.
emphasis was off. Okay, anyways,
All good. I absolutely understood what you meant.
perfect. I mean, that's the
Um,
most important part.
exactly. Communication is just expressing and then comprehending. It's gonna be fine.
I mean, coming from you said you
But
studied communication, so
exactly.
I feel like it's a big like it's a big thing coming from you.
Oh, no. I think, well, I got into photography quite randomly, I think, because my dad is an architect and he used to photograph as well with like analog cameras back in the day. So they were always lying around the house. And I think one day I just decided to play around with one. And I've always kind of felt fascinated looking through, you know, the viewer and like looking through a lens and just being able to change the perspective by zooming in or, changing the aperture. And that got me really hooked at the age of around, I think, like 13 or 14. Um, but I was only shooting analog back then, and that got quite expensive after a while. So I got a digital camera for my 16th birthday because I really begged my parents for one. And they were kind enough to gift me one. And
Which one was your
since then,
first
I've just
camera?
always, sorry,
Sorry for interrupting. Which one was your
no,
first camera?
the digital one or the analog
Yes,
one?
both. Just out of
Um,
curiosity.
the analog one was an Olympus OM1, which I still have.
Yeah.
And the digital one was, I think it was a Nikon D5100 or something. I don't have it anymore.
Oh
But
no.
it was, yeah, it was quite a big deal to me at the time because I started capturing everything. And for some reason, my friends just went along with it and they just were okay with me forcing them to do like random shoots with me. And it got to the point where I initially wanted to be a filmmaker. Like I wanted to be a camera person. Um, and then I went to Australia and kind of documented everything in like a travel diary thing. Made vlogs on YouTube, the whole shebang. And really, really enjoyed doing it and thought, okay, why can't I not get paid doing this? And for some reason, that turns out it worked. So I just started an apprenticeship when I got back to Munich and did 3 years of photography, graduated right in the middle of COVID, started my own business because that felt like the right thing to do. And yeah, I've been self-employed ever since.
Wow.
And yeah, that's how it kind of started. But because you said I chose the word documenting over photographing, I think I'd still call myself a photographer. But I like photographing people just as much as I love documenting atmospheres, because I think there's something quite special about working with people. And I never, like, I had to do like product shots during my apprenticeship, but I never really clicked with it because it was just you and the object and the light. That was all there was to it. And I'm not saying that's not a skill, because it definitely is. um, but when you work with people, there's another dimension to it, because you have to work with the people for the picture to be something. Because if the lighting's perfect, technical aspects are all great, focus is there, but the person blinks or looks stupid or doesn't like the way that you made them feel, it's going to show in the picture, and you can't use the photo if the person is not, themselves in that moment. So working with the people is more about capturing the people rather than getting the technicality of the photo right, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like sort of the human connection that plays part in it.
Yeah.
And what you said is like so real. I am really not good in front of a camera. Like
Mhm.
whenever someone takes a photo of me, I make a specific face. You are like how do you say, the witness of that. I don't know, like I'm not sure if you watched How I Met Your Mother, but back in the days there was
Mhm.
like this meme going on where Barney, one of the characters, always
Oh
pulled
yeah.
like a really perfect face no matter
Yeah.
in what angle he was autographed in or whatever. And I do the same, but like not in a good way. I do the same, just in a really bad way. I don't know, I pull a face and that's just an every picture for some reason. And we once worked with a photographer for our studio shots. And she was very good in, not just for the studio shots, actually for an interview as well. And she was so good in making me feel comfortable as, but
Mhm.
I'm specifically like, I remember that I felt so comfortable. Because of feeling so comfortable, I was able to let go of that weird face. And with the direction that she was giving us, I was also able to be like a little bit more, I would say, in the moment and trying
Mhm.
to like be really intentional of how I look in that photo. And yeah, so that's just my personal anecdote on that, being on the other side of things. So I
100%
can,
agree. There's a reason why I work behind the camera, and I was super reluctant to just, be in any video podcast at all, because I'm just not. It's
wow,
not my
thanks for
favorite
joining
place to
this
be.
one.
But
But
yeah,
you said you did YouTube vlogs. Did you not
yeah.
show yourself in those? Whereas was it more just like the scenery, or did you also talk to the camera in the vlog?
I did get into like the vlogging camera thing where I was in
Yeah.
the frame as well, but I wouldn't post them publicly. I just put them in up for my like family and friends to watch what I would get up to while I was on traveling adventures.
That's
Okay,
so
I
yeah,
was
that
real.
quite
makes more
scared.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I hear that so
Sorry, I should have
often.
clarified.
No,
Sorry.
no, I was just curious because
Mhm.
you mentioned the vlogging, but then you also said you don't like being behind the camera. But so it's only like if it's for like your friends and family, you feel fine about it. It's more
Yeah.
like putting it out for like everyone to see.
I feel like that's so real for many
Yeah.
photographers. I hear
Yeah.
that so many
Yeah.
times that they don't like being like in front of the like in front of the camera, like being the subject of the photo. They prefer being behind the camera and like taking the photo. Um, yeah, well, I also want to quickly go back to your like technique
Mhm.
with the shooting on film, and then the intention and like the craft behind it. Do you feel like I'm just sorry, I just have to think of how to phrase this one correctly. I want to go a little bit more into like pivot into the social media aspects of it all.
Mhm.
Um, but first highlight the craft in shooting film. Now I need to just rethink my question based on what I just said.
I actually have a question
Perfect. Then go
based
ahead.
on something else
Okay, then you go
before you
ahead.
go there.
Perfect. Then I have time to think of the question properly.
Yeah, you mentioned that that a lot of the work is like finding a connection with the person you're working with. What's something like, how do you work like to get that authentic moment? Do you have certain like things that you try? Is it just kind of being there and then like every person is different and you just kind of have to wing it? Or do you have ways of making people feel comfortable enough to give you an authentic moment?
That's a
You
good
guys have
question.
really good questions. Like, that's a good question. Hold on. Because I do, I think, well, when I started taking photos of my friends, it felt quite natural because, you know each other and it's quite easy telling them what to do or what you want to try. But working with clients, you obviously, most of the time, you can't be that direct. So I felt like, I don't know if I felt like it, but I definitely developed some sort of sensor of, reading the room. And I think that's a really important skill for photographers to have, or any person on set, really. Because as a photographer, you do so many jobs at once, oftentimes, that it's quite overwhelming having to deal with another person's, nervous system too. And if the person that you're photographing is quite anxious or super confident, or you don't know what energy they bring to set, what day they're having, you don't know what's going on with their personal life, but you still know what the result should be, and somehow it's your job to get them to join you in the energy that you need. So I feel like it's always easiest to just talk to people directly, communicate absolutely clearly what you want so there's no misunderstanding, because I feel like misunderstandings make every room like pivot, and like I don't know, if you misunderstand someone, there's automatically a certain negative aspect to it because you didn't think what they thought you meant, and it kind of gets mixed up. So I try to be really clear in the directions I give when I'm photographing people, but I always obviously try to keep the stress away at all times, because set is quite a fun place to be, but it's also, you can feel the pressure sometimes, especially time-wise, if you don't have a lot of time. And as a photographer, it's 100% your job to not let the person in front of the camera feel what you have loading, what you have on your back at the moment. And so I don't think there's one certain game book that I would use, because everyone's different. But I trust my team a lot, so it's important that you have people on set who will bring the energy that this day needs or whatever is required. And then for people who are super anxious, maybe just give them a break, maybe slow it down a bit, maybe don't talk to them too much. But it really depends on who you're photographing and what it's for, to be honest. It's quite
Yeah,
individual.
I can imagine the time thing being really
Mm,
stressful because especially when you're photographing people, you want to
mm.
kind of get to know them, but I'm assuming there's not a lot of time to do that before a shoot in all cases. So it's like there's a lot of like having to do things in the moment and change your energy depending on what they're giving and things like that. So you have to be very flexible, I can imagine. Have you ever had it
Yes.
happen that you like didn't get the shot and you had to, have another appointment, like on another day or another
Oof,
time?
that's a good question. I don't think that's happened before. But there's definitely been moments where I wasn't 100% happy with the photo because I had a different feeling of what the vibe could potentially be. But then the client said, "This is great. We're going to use this." So my personal preferences is out the window, obviously. So just because I
Feels
didn't get the shot
familiar.
I wanted
Yeah.
doesn't mean that the shoot was not successful.
Yeah, that's
So
that's like such a classic creative
yeah,
experience. We've all
because
been there where
everyone,
the client chooses like something we didn't like,
Yeah.
and then we're just like, okay, I
And as
guess.
long as the client is happy, I
Yeah, that's
guess.
the thing. The client is like the person who needs to be happy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
for sure.
That's
Because when I do like creative shoots or just any project that doesn't involve someone else's, I want to say, opinion, it's more of a more of a collaboration in sense of, okay, I can ask the stylist, I can ask the hair and makeup artist, how would you like this to be, or what's your personal vision for it? And then everyone brings something to the table until everyone has whatever they wanted. Um, but it's super, super interesting what kind of images everyone or each department picks at the end of the shoot, because they're going to be so different.
That's also interesting because then you're not like the post-production has an element of,
Mm-hmm.
it's very dependent on the person, which is also interesting. And it makes sense because everyone has like their preferences and what they think is good and not good. Do
Yeah,
you always get to, I guess you don't always get to make the choice, right? Is it always a
exactly.
client or is it like you get to make maybe like a preliminary choice and they choose from your like
That's really
choice?
dependent. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
I think it really depends what type of project it is, because if it's a commercial, I probably won't have any say. But if it's I want to say documentary of sorts, like an event or something, I will present them with a bunch of choices, and then they'll post whatever they think is right. But I don't give them all the options.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's also crazy.
Yeah.
I really like what you said about being in the moment and like to what you said about working with people and having this connection or having to build that connection in the moment. I feel like it's something similar we have to do here when we have guests on the episodes.
Yeah,
True, a
It's like
similar vibe, yeah.
exactly that's why I like the
yeah.
question so much because I felt like I felt like it was super relatable because it's also
Yeah.
like dependent on the energies and how the conversation
And
goes.
also the day you had because
Exactly.
we have days where also when you're the person who has to kind of bring that energy, which I feel like
Mhm.
is probably the case with photographers because you're leading the project. For
Mhm.
us, it's the same with the podcast where we have to bring kind of the energy. And there are some days when you just like don't have that in you, but you have to turn
Mhm.
it on
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway, and that's hard.
Yeah. Today was not that day, by the way, for me.
For me it kind of is a day like that today, but I'm doing my best.
You're doing very
You
well.
are.
You're bringing the
Thank
right kind of
you.
energy.
No, it's all
Well,
good. I think we
go
all
ahead.
just, ride on certain waves of emotion, and sometimes there's motivation in there, and then you act upon it immediately and it goes well. And then other days you just have no energy left, but you still have to push through. And it really just depends on how you approach things, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think it's a lot of like practice, when you have to do it a lot on and then
Hmm.
you have and then obviously you're gonna have many days where you feel like you can't do it, but you push through, and then the next time when you're in that situation, like I've done this before, I can do it again,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
then you
Yeah.
feel better about it as well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when you develop the
Experience
skills, what
helps.
you said.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like the
Yeah.
stencil, the way you said it, like
Mm.
the way you expressed it, like the stencil, I feel like that's a good way to put it. You can just try to make it fit. Doesn't always, but I feel like most of the times it works out. I want to go back to the connection part a little bit
Hmm.
and mostly about like I guess since it's many freelancers listening, like promoting that type of work, especially in an age where like you mostly work for algorithms and not really for connection. I feel like,
Mhm.
back in the days when you opened Instagram or like even Facebook, you just like posted an unhinged album of your night out, and
Mhm.
that's what you just put on there. It was more like documenting your night out. You didn't really care about how will
True.
it
Yeah.
perform, how will it, I don't know, how will other people like it. You're just like, I took all of these photos, here it is, I'm inviting everyone to see, so you can just like download the photos. So it was like, yeah, documentation of the night, if you want to put it that way.
Mhm.
And now you wouldn't find something like that anymore, maybe on like private Instagram. So not even then. I feel like you would first start
Mhm.
curating it out and then, I don't know, make it perform well or make it perform for your audience or whatever. But
Yeah,
there
or
is
make it like fit to your aesthetic.
exactly, it's not just like this unhinged, like, I think it was a whole camera roll. I think I just took it. Maybe I just deleted the very blurry images, but I feel like there was a lot of images of me being drunk or my friends and just doing
Mhm.
crazy stuff, and I just put it on the internet and now
Not
it would be
not even
crazy.
just that, but I remember like also doing like photo shoots with my friends just randomly. Like we would just like on an afternoon
Right?
we're like in the
Yes.
park and we're just doing random photo shoots. And we just posted that online, like and also like with very little curation. Like I think we also only got rid
Yeah.
of shots that were like maybe really badly lit or like
Yeah.
really blurry or something. But most of them we just posted without really
But
thinking
that's
about
what I
it.
mean. I don't think
Yeah.
we'd ever do this again. Like
No.
I don't think we're at this day and age anymore. And where this has like it had its time and place, and that's kind of
Mm.
where we left it. And it's kind of sad. I mean, I'm yearning back for those times of social media. Like I think a lot of people are. And now back to my question, is that since you focus so much on like documenting and creating evoking emotions with your work. I feel like when you capture something authentic, it usually evokes emotion. And I
Mhm.
wanted to ask how that fits into the current state of social media and how to promote your work. Do you feel like your type of work is maybe not performing well on the algorithms or whatever you like to call it? Or do you feel like it actually has its space and people are like yearning for it?
Um, to comment on what you said before, because I think the reason that this is not possible anymore to post like random collections of whatever you thought was funny, um, the internet has quite frankly absolutely changed 100%.
Mm.
Um, social media is a much bigger part in the way that we perform. Like you said, it's almost curated everything. And that felt like it feels wrong to make it raw and ugly again because everything else is so polished. And I had a really, really tough time a couple of years ago navigating this change of social media because I've been using Instagram since like 2010. Like I grew up with it in high school. I absolutely loved it. Um, when the first like what you call it, front page, start page, for you page, whatever it's called now, um, it was chronologically from the
I
time when people
know.
uploaded
Good
it, and you could
times.
like
Yeah.
scroll all the way to the bottom, and you were done because
It would
you were
end,
called
yeah.
caught up, and that's not
Yeah.
happening anymore. Like there's ads everywhere, everything's AI, nobody knows what's real anymore. It's chaos, and a couple of years ago, when this was not quite as obvious, um, I got really frustrated with it, to be quite honest, because and when I started, you got like from your friends. Sometimes you were able to connect with people in the industry that lived somewhere else. I made friends on Instagram that I still talk to this day, and it was I don't know, it was networking digitally for some reason, and it was fun and creative, and everyone had their little corner that they could decorate in a way that they thought it looked nice, and now I don't think that's really the case anymore because everything's repeat. Like I think everything looks or follows the similar formula of making it go viral. Um, and if we start performing for the algorithm, creativity goes out the window. That's just I don't know what I feel about it, but because I had a tough time navigating it, I took a step back and felt like, okay, I can't keep this up. I don't want to perform for the algorithm. So I just stopped. I post quite a lot of stories, but I don't post a lot on my feed. And I rarely ever post reels because videos just, I love videos and I love films, but I don't have the time, honestly. I don't have the time or the energy to keep this up in the quality that I would like it to be. And it took a lot of time and frustration for me to accept the fact that I will not be using Instagram the same way that I did so far. Just because when we started, it was like a creative canvas and we could do what we wanted, and then it got sold to Meta. And now it's just, I don't know, the platform has changed, but we haven't changed. And now we have to navigate in a world that's not the same that we used to know. And I don't care about algorithms anymore. I'm sorry, I can't be of much help in this department because I don't care.
No, but I really love that perspective. I mean, of course, sad. I feel similar about it.
Mm,
I feel like I used to post way more, like, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago than I do now. I do post
mhm,
like sometimes about my trips, but I have a
mm,
private Instagram, so it's mostly just people I know that see it. Not
mm.
really professionally, not really. So I understand like where like the algorithm like really like cuts you in your creativity, because that's like your way of seeing the world, and now you have to like change your craft to make it
Mhm.
fit something that just doesn't fit you. And it's like so frustrating to be in that position, where you have to like either change how you work or like not use it at all anymore. um is there like any other platform that you use to promote your work, or is this kind of like, or do you have like a network already where like work comes in regularly, so you don't really need to?
I do have my website, which I use as my portfolio, kind of. But I still use Instagram because I haven't found a solid replacement for it yet. If there's one, please let me know.
Yeah, I want to
um,
say the same.
but I think I still use Instagram because of the connections I built on there. And it is quite, you invested years of your life building this networking little booklet of people. And, whether it's the industry or just people in general, um, I use it as a networking tool because I don't like LinkedIn. um, and I think I'm a bit more careful about what I post for sure, just because times have changed and you can't post, drunk nats out anymore. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
good times.
I don't. I've never really used Twitter or X or anything, so I don't felt the need to change that because there's substitutes for that, like Blue Sky or whatever. But I don't know. I'm quite a nostalgic person, so I have a hard time giving things up that I like. And I really liked what Instagram did for us as like humans, because there's a wonderful tool to connect and share and just be random. Um, I still vividly, sorry, this is a random thought that just popped into my head. I remember vividly this one filter, you could only post squares and you could have these like ugly filters on Instagram.
The
And there was
first
one called
ones.
Toaster,
Yeah,
I don't
which
remember
I
that one.
really, really liked
I
for some
remember I had
reason.
my favorite too. I don't remember the name of it, but I had a favorite filter on Instagram as well.
I don't think I
Yeah.
used it back then.
But
No.
I think it's really sad to hear that. I think for me, I always felt like Instagram made the most sense for
Hmm.
photographers,
For sure.
back in the day, because it was so visual. And it was like the
Uh-huh.
first thing we had that was purely visual, because before that we had Facebook, and that was more like, people were writing statuses and writing on their timeline
The
and stuff like that.
statuses that you wrote,
Like,
some
no,
random lyric, like And then like, what's up? And then like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm
But
gonna write a message.
also like the personal conversations you would have on your
Yeah, true.
feed that everyone, all of your friends could read, you know?
I know.
It's like why like take it to DMs, you know? But back then that was normal. But then Instagram came and it was very visual, and I feel like for photographers that was like the tool, and it really worked for a long time. And it's really sad that we've now that Instagram has basically, I don't know, I want to say like abandoned their main, you know, user base for this trending audio, trending video kind of content. And that's something that photographers, like you said, like if there are photographers that would be interested in video, they probably are interested in, you know, creating some kind of like craft, film craft type work, and not some 20-second or even 10-second trending audio video, you know? So it's kind of, it's
I,
really sad to hear that, you know, that photographers don't feel like it's for them anymore when it was such a big part of their development.
definitely. I think I don't think it's become like bad, but I think it's just changed to an extent that we don't recognize why we liked it before. And we either have to, you know, go with the flow and make it a new Vine, like have funny, cute little short videos that make people laugh and just grab the attention that way. But yeah, it's not about the photos anymore. That's true. We used to have YouTube as like video platform, and then TikTok came in with the short format, I think.
Yeah.
But Instagram's just trying to combine everything. Like they got stories from Snapchat, they got the reels from TikTok, and I don't know. It's just become super a combination of all things, and you can't feed all things as an individual because you used to have different platforms and you used to pick those ones that you liked. But now that Instagram's changed, it's a bit harder to keep up with the expectations from the app itself, I think.
Yeah, and also like it's obvious that the app favors certain content.
Yeah,
So that
true.
trending content or the reels are favored over static images. And then also
Yeah.
the curated type content is also favored over, I don't know. I mean, maybe we should make an Instagram account where we just post unhinged stuff and see what happens. Like
I think
honestly.
that's what's
Just
happening,
like
though.
party photos.
I think that's what's
True.
happening, though, because lots of influencers um, post the same sort of
Yeah.
vibe, I would say. And they do that really well, and that's why it's performing. But from my experience in the way that I consume social media, is I get bored so easily if everything like looks the same. And if people post like 5 times a day, I can't read all that. Like I don't know you personally. I don't care that much about it. Just give me one image a week and I'm good. Like I like to keep up with certain creators because they do really amazing work. But if it's like it's too much input, you know,
Yeah,
it's a
totally
bit
agree.
overwhelming.
Yeah, especially like what you said about artists or like oh my God, how do you say promise? Holy shit.
Celebrities.
Yeah, celebrities. Oh my God. So what the fuck promise? I sound like my mom. Okay, so well, you're right about what you said before. Like the content is getting a bit more raw. I feel like people are kind of like, I'm using the word yearning a lot this episode. I hardly ever use it in general, but I feel like people are yearning for more authenticity, especially
For
since the
sure.
AI rise, uh, AI, the rise of AI. I feel like there is even more and more need for emotional and human connection because it feels like so dystopian to have like
It does, yeah.
yeah, like AI generated people on your feed. It always feels so uncanny to me. Like there was one, I'm using like FlatX and Broker for trading, and it had like where I used to use it, and it had like an ad that was, yeah, put onto my feed, and it was just all AI. And I was like, oh my God, I need to delete this app. It felt so uncanny. And I was like, no, I cannot like I feel like it really hurts the branding.
What
Well,
was it?
flat X.
No, but what was the ad? Was it people
It was
or
people.
really?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what
wow.
creeped
Oh,
me
okay.
out. Like it was so obviously AI people. Like
Mm.
I don't know. It was horrible, and I feel like we're just really like on the maybe not on the peak of it, but on the rise for sure, where we have like even more and more inauthentic content. And I feel like maybe that's what celebrities do right now is more like, okay, I'm gonna show you a snapshot of my life, like more raw and unfiltered. I know that they filter it, but but it's more like I feel like returning back to being more authentic versus being more polished, because now we have AI polishing
Mhm.
everything, and now everyone is polished, and now it feels weird. You don't stand out anymore. Like
But can
there
you
needs to be
always
more.
tell if it's AI?
Not always. I got tricked like once, and ever since I'm like
Mhm.
so sus of every video that I see. Like
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
people like no wait, I got tricked 2 times. I think one time that one that everyone got tricked with the bears or with the rabbits on the trampoline. It was like a
Mhm.
CCTV footage. I
Mhm.
feel like I wasn't the only one getting tricked there.
Mhm.
And then there was another video that I sent to Rebecca where someone was creating something, whatever. And it was like, I was like, oh, so cute, and sent it to her. And at some point, I saw a video that was super similar. And I was like, wait a minute, but with a different person, but doing something
Mhm.
similar. I was like, wait a
Oh.
minute. And then I noticed it's AI, and I felt so betrayed. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah, so I guess also a question, since AI is a topic that's in everyone's munde, I don't know how to say, it's in everyone's feed, it's in everyone's like probably top of their minds, especially in the industry, because it's affecting
Mm.
us a lot. How do you feel about AI entering the the photography sphere? Like, how do you navigate that? Did you notice anything in the jobs that you got or the peers around you? Like, did it impact your work?
Um, there's definitely been changes, like whether it's budget cuts or the workflow that has changed, because a lot of my colleagues have told me that they kind of look into it and they use it for retouching purposes as well, which of course makes it probably the first part of the industry to be tackled by AI, but that's being used a lot in almost every commercial these days, I think. Um, but from my personal view on it, I don't think it's gonna. Oh, I don't know. I feel like there's such a hype around it at the moment that you can't really tell what it's gonna do in the long term. Because I recently saw a reel of an interview with a comedian. His name is, I think he's Josh Johnson or something. Um, and he's really, really good in weaving in like political thoughts in like comedy, but in like a really, really intelligent way. And he said something about why AI came for the arts first. And I think is the way that he phrased it was, if they did it in medicine or like in legal areas or something, the thing would be AI can't take responsibility. And if something went wrong, you would have actual problems. But for the arts, it's just for fun. And, it's not as serious, apparently. Uh, but
That's so sad.
yeah, I know. But I think it's the reason why it came with the generative AI and everyone using it for fun. And just, of course, it's super useful if you can do something super fast because it saves time. But the thing that I'm most afraid about is because if everyone can do everything super fast, none of it is going to be actually good. And if everyone can do everything a little bit or on a rudimentary level, we will get to a point where people can't do the craft properly because you can do it with AI and it's not going to be good, but it's going to be something. And people won't tell or won't care about the difference. And if we don't know, or if we don't have anyone who can tell us if it's any good, like the AI output, I don't know where we're going to get with this, because if we lose the skill and if we lose the craft, I don't know what's going to happen, honestly.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I feel like
Yeah, I think that's what the people who are at a point in their career where they are the type to be able to say
Mm,
this is good or this isn't good. That is the criticism from them, like also from us. Like we use AI in our work as well. And I mean, I just used it yesterday and it sped up my process so much, but I could never have
yeah.
taken what the AI made and been like, this, then give it to Rebecca, like, this is
Coded.
the design. Can you code this? Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't good enough for that. I had to redo it. But it was enough of a
Yeah.
base that it saved me maybe like 1 or 2 hours of work. So, but yeah, but when the people taking the work from the AI and making it like into something that's actually usable are gone because no one's learning the craft anymore,
Yeah.
then we're left with a bunch of mediocre work that doesn't actually fulfill its purpose.
yeah, because I guess when you
Yeah.
think about craft, it often like comes from like something very personal.
Uh-huh.
Like I think a lot of creative people like don't always like work for like to perform. Like they don't like
Mhm.
work on something and you think,
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know if it's gonna perform so well, unless it's like work that revolves around performing. But I'm like talking about, for example, photography. I think many people can relate to that, where you just wanna like capture a moment and it's like your personal feeling, and then maybe you post it and someone else connects to it. And but the purpose of taking the photo wasn't for it to perform. It was for you
Exactly.
and yourself. And I feel like AI doesn't promote that feeling where you just want to create something personal, and if you then lose the craft, because when you do the craft, it gives you something back. Or it gives you something emotional back. And we are kind of losing all of this balance of what what makes us human, I would say, because I think that many humans are creatives in many different ways,
Mhm.
but they need kind of an outlet for their creativity. But if
Oh,
now
for
everything needs
sure.
to be sped up and everything needs to be just quickly done and perform and whatever, we're what you said, we're losing touch with that side of us. And I think that us humans, that side of us is just so extremely important to balance the stress and
Mm,
everything else we feel on a day to day.
yeah.
And yeah.
I feel like we also lose the ability to be patient and to actually sit down with a craft and,
Yeah.
hone it, make it actually good, put in the effort and learn it. Sometimes it goes faster, sometimes it takes a bit longer. But for you to be actually good at something, you have to gain experience. And if you delegate the experience to an AI tool, you won't have the experience. And I think that's one of my main issues, because when I see AI generated commercials or whatever it is, um, they're usually made to look like a photograph. That's what they're going for with the generative things, right? And that bugs me a bit, because AI generated images are not photographs. They're just, the way that they're created is entirely different. Just like photos aren't paintings, it's an
Mm.
entirely different thing. So we shouldn't call it AI photography or anything, because it's not. It's not a photograph. Photographs are made with, light. And AI hasn't seen daylight in I don't know how many days. So I don't know, ever. Um, so I feel like it's important to preserve the difference. And, maybe there's a place for AI that's really useful. Maybe there's not. We won't know. We'll know in a while, when it's past. I think the hype has to go, and then we'll know if it worked or what didn't. I think there's this, I love quotes. So I just have to think of this one quote by Kierkegaard. He said, "Life is lived forward, but it's only understood backwards." And I think that's quite true in this case as well. So we'll have to see what remains after we pass the storm. I don't know. I'm just now throwing words around. But yeah, I don't think it's easy to tell how it's going to go, because we don't know. But it's, from what I've experienced and from what my nervous system tells me and my friends tell me and what everyone else is kind of, I feel like, feeling, is we're quite tired of it being fake. So when we bring back authenticity, when we bring back slowing it down, and maybe it's fast, maybe it's slow, I don't care, but it's about how you feel while you do it. And if you have like a knot in your stomach being like, I don't know if I like this. And you should listen to it, because even though it's AI and it's fast and it's super cool in some areas and super useful in others, but I don't know. I'm quite torn about it, to be honest.
Yeah. It's interesting also that you mentioned like the slowness of craft. I like
Mm,
yesterday when I used it yesterday, I was really just being
mhm.
lazy. And I knew I could get to like the same result myself, like by investing a couple more hours into it. And I think that we need to sometimes like take a step back and think about like, do I really need to save these 2 hours? Like to me, it's similar to like, when you're driving and you see people who are like racing to get like to every light to get through every light, and like they're
Mhm.
only gonna get to their destination maybe 2 or 3
Yeah.
minutes earlier than you. But and I'm always like so ridiculous that they're stressing so much.
At
Like
what cost
at what
also?
cost?
Yeah,
Exactly, at what
because you
cost?
could
Yeah.
like really like have an accident
Exactly.
or
Like for
yeah.
Mhm.
just to get there like a few minutes earlier. And I feel like a similar way about AI, like even using it myself, like I feel like was it really necessary to just save like 2 hours of work?
I feel really like empty after. Like I use it a lot for coding now because
Mhm.
it sped up my process immensely. But
Yeah. I can
I don't
imagine.
feel like I always had this rush when I was coding. I don't know, like almost like being on drugs. Like when I was solving problems, I was like, I could do it for hours. I loved it. And I think the process of it is what I loved. I loved solving problems and I still do. But AI solves the problems for me. Not all of them, but a big chunk of it.
Yeah.
And now I just sit there like a
Yeah.
prompt generator and then I do some details myself or like I restructure something. But the craft itself of like coding and thinking, it's like there's a heavy lifting or
Mhm.
like some of the lifting is done by AI. And I don't feel like I use the craft anymore as I used to. And whenever I finish work, I'm like, okay, I clocked out, I finished work and I finished this task, but I don't go out of it with a feeling of, yeah, this was amazing. I'm
If
like,
you
True.
solve this bug that has been there for the past
you
5 hours.
remember when I was like in front
Yeah.
of the computer for one bug, I sat there like, I mean, it's not productive, but I sat there for, I don't know, 8 hours
And
trying to
then
solve it like on and off. And when I solved it, this rush that I got,
Yeah.
unbelievable. I feel like that's the equivalent of like taking drugs or something. I don't know. Um, yeah,
I'm
so
super scared of the brain rot that it's gonna bring
yeah.
as well. I don't want to open another big topic, but I think if we could keep going for ages on this one, because there's so many aspects to it that we don't know yet, but we can already like tell like the tiniest starting changes that have been made in people's everyday life. Like they just walk around talking to ChatGPT about certain thoughts before they even think what they think about it. And I think it's so bizarre to, you know, outsource thinking.
Yeah. That's such a good way to put it because I
yeah.
am sometimes outsourcing thinking by doing that
Yeah.
with like the code generation. I would also
Mm,
love to keep talking about it, but I'm being mindful of the time. But I would love to keep
absolutely.
going. I hate to interrupt
No,
that
no
thought
worries.
because I like where it's going.
Yeah.
Um, well, I feel like we've been very reflective this episode because usually we end on a reflective note, and
Mm.
the question being, or should I do it now since it is the
Yeah, I did
beginning?
the intro, so
Well, this one is almost harder because there is no text this time. It's the final question usually goes along these lines of if you could go like back in time and give yourself advice on when you like started out with photography or like with your freelance career, what is some advice that you would give your past self about that?
Oh my God, that's hard, because I'm usually a big fan of just doing things the way that you would do them intuitively, because then you'll know if it was a good or a bad decision based on what you thought in the first place. But Do you mean this in a business perspective, like how to build a photography, or if I just, for the purpose of my life turning
I
out this way?
I guess in this specific one, I would say your life turning out the way
Okay.
it is, like the path that you took.
Mm, I used to be a very, very anxious person. So I feel like I would say to myself that it's not that big a deal. And it's not worth, having anxiety attacks over the smallest little things, because you're always going to turn out okay in some way or the other. If you prepare well, and if you do your job, if you're kind, if you're good at what you do because you really like it, it's going to turn out great. Don't stress about it too much, even if there's like hiccups on set. Talk to people before they turn into big mistakes, because little hiccups can be fixed. But I don't know. I think it's chill out. It's not that big a deal.
Love it. Okay. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you so
us.
much. It's
No
so nice
worries.
talking to
Thank you
you.
so much for
Yeah.
having me. I really enjoyed the questions. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoy conversations about photography, check out our episode with Ulrich Eid, where we talk about his journey becoming a photographer. And if you like the podcast, please leave a 5-star rating.